Lay. Sir. Yeah. Yeah.
Kane is in the building, nigga.
Alright, already the show goes on all night. Till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they will see the sun? Just remember when you come up, the show goes on. Alright, already the show goes on all night. Till the morning we dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they will see the sun? Just remember when you come up, the show goes on.
Hi, welcome to my big red couch. Today I have with me two very special guests. One is a big surprise. This is Amy Barbera, and I've been wanting to interview Amy forever since I first heard her song Paint Me a Rainbow. I just fell in love with that song. It was so awesome, and like I said, I've just been wanting to talk to her for such a long time. Amy brought her mom along today, Judy, and she wanted her to be a part of the interview, and I have no problem with that because right here on the big red couch is real conversations, real people, real life. So Amy is an inspirational singer and songwriter whose first album,
Beautiful Flower
Flower of Life, was released in 2008, and she's been receiving so many different accolades and so many different nominations, awards, special mentions in her, and all this has been coming kind of like really quickly and really recently for you. I know recently you went out to Hollywood where you were one of the top 5 from a field of hundreds of performers worldwide in the Artist for Music Awards. And she was nominated in the category for Best Singer-Songwriter and Best Pop Artist. So that's something, and I know that was really, really special for you. And then this week she announced that she's been chosen as the favorite singer for the prestigious Betty Awards. And just tell me just a tiny little bit about how all of this has been impacting your life. How are you kind of like dealing with this, your sudden popularity, or your growing popularity, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, it came out of nowhere. I interviewed on this radio station called Cut and Dry Talent Radio with Christopher Call, and he's part of the whole Artists in Music Awards. You know, he's one of the panelist judges, and he nominated me last year, and I didn't realize, you know, that I was gonna be flying out to LA twice. So when I went out in December, they kept calling me to the stage, and I mean, I was like, okay, because it was 20 artists in each category, and they were picking the top 5. And I was like, oh, that's why they're calling me to the stage. I made the top 5, you know. So that's why I had to go back out in February, and it was really amazing because I had already met everybody, and I didn't win the final award. But what I realized when I was there, I didn't realize it was international until I went out there. And the person that won Best Singer-Songwriter is from Israel. People were flying in from England and flying. And I thought, wow, you know, to make the top 5 for indie artists, it was a really big deal.
It was.
So it's kind of like I've worked so hard at this all these years, and it's coming, like things are coming
together. And one of the questions that I had prepared to ask you was to share a little bit about your background, but since we have Judy here, Judy, tell us a little bit about Amy as a child growing up. You know, just a little bit, nothing, you know, that will embarrass Amy. Was she an only child? Did she play an instrument as a child?
No, she has a daughter, Julie, and they are 18 months apart.
No, a sister.
A sister. And Amy has always been interested in performing all her life from childhood on. And she always worked so hard at this, you know, in the singing, the dancing, all of this. And Amy is a person with deep feelings.
That comes across a whole lot in her music. It does.
And I am so pleased because I have had many troubles in my life. And that's one reason I'm here, because what Amy is doing is spreading the love of God and Jesus, you know, with her music, her love, her everything, and the songs she writes. So it's a gift. It's a real gift. But ever since childhood, as I said, she has been interested in performing and making a difference in loving, you know. So And I will say that this may help somebody out there. Amy and I both have suffered from anorexia nervosa. I had it quite severely about many years ago. I was one of the first to have it
It was in the 1950s, right?
in the 1950s.
Wow.
Uh-huh. And I was in Johns Hopkins a year and almost died. I had special treatment. And so then Amy and Julie, both of my daughters, picked up a little bit of that
In our teenage years.
in the teenage years. But Amy's faith and strength and Julie's helped them to get through the anorexia nervosa. But I think that's why Amy has gone on to write and sing. And I asked her, will you please be a light for me to take love and the light to the world, because she can do it.
That is so special. That's so special. And Amy, when did you realize that you had this amazing gift and that music was your calling?
Well, I always knew it, because remember when I was little, we did a talent show at our elementary school, and I sang my favorite things from The Sound of Music, and I won the whole show. I was just little. I think I was like 5 or something real little. But I didn't have confidence, and then in college, my high school sweetheart had broken up with me, and I got involved with musical theater, and it was kind of like a healing time in my life. And I got, not the main lead, but I got a lead. But it wasn't until I went through I had anorexia, like she said, and I went through a year of counseling, and it wasn't until I healed from that, I said, I want to pursue my real dreams, and I decided to move away from home, because I'm originally from Maryland. And so I took a year, and I saved, and I moved out, and that's when I really knew. I started singing at a church. They put me as a worship leader. And then as I started training with different coaches, it was like one of my coaches, Catherine Farnham, said, you need to start writing songs. And I knew I had it in me because I started writing a lot. And it was like almost like God gave me that gift when I gave my life to Jesus. It was like I didn't really have a writing gift or a song gift. And my dad was a jazz music major in college. Originally he was
So you come from a musical background also.
and my grandfather was an organist. And and grandma was a pianist, so we had it in us, but it was like it didn't really manifest in my life until I gave my life to Christ. And then I debated which way I should go, because you kind of want to be popular, and do the pop music.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like God kept giving me these songs, and I was able to take the songs and make them inspirational, but use something like Paint Me a Rainbow to be what's kind of hip now. And then I do have the beautiful angelic ones too, so it's like kind of, I developed my own style, my own, kind of your own, what do they call it, your own package, your own, I don't know what they call it in the entertainment business.
Well, it's basically like your own style, your own flair. You give your own kind of like juice, so to speak.
Yeah.
To what you're doing. And a lot of people, your mom being here actually, because I had one of the questions was to do with, I know you've shared that you've had issues with depression and, like she said, eating disorders and stuff. And one of my questions was, how did you overcome those obstacles, and how are you helping other people? And I think your mom answered that. So she kind of covered that for you. And a lot of people do say that music is a cutthroat industry. Did you have any qualms at all about entering into this arena?
Yeah, we've been through a lot. We went out to New York, and I used to work at this bank, and my dad, of course, my parents have been angels. They've really supported my career. Spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to help me get on my album. So this is right when September 11th happened. We flew out in October that year, 2001, and met with a lady. Her name was Amy Berger, and she was going to but at that time I hadn't developed who I was. I hadn't maybe written one song. It was already recorded. It wasn't. And then just recently, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I had a record deal offered to me. It was like a 40-page contract, and we got a lawyer. So, but it's like I feel like I have God's protection, and I always pray, and you struggle with who you are. You don't want to. I want to stick to who I am. And so along the way, I've had these little things you know, what should I do, and then decisions to make, and contracts that I possibly could sign, but, so now I'm still on my own, independent. My fiance, TC, he's always like, Mama, you've done all this stuff on your own with no record company, you know, you're making, and it impresses him because, you know, he was in music and was signed, and had all this money backing him, and he said, you're doing all this, you don't have any promotion team, I do all my own promotion, everything on the internet I do, and it's a lot of work, but it pays
She
off.
wears herself down. I mean, she comes, Lisa tries to help her all she can, but she wears herself down. But the most important thing, the world is in constant turmoil now. We are really coming to a lot of catastrophes, so to speak. And we need all the love in the world that we can get. And I notice the songs, like there's a new one that Amy has that she's doing, is so impacting and there's so many hurting people out there in all races, all nationalities, all everything. And I love people. And she's really making a difference to help them and give them strength.
Yeah, that's what's really fueled me to stay in this direction, because every day I get people writing me, you know, somebody that's sick, or somebody that lost a child, or somebody that's, you know, hurting or feels rejected, and it's like, wow, this is like where it's at, you know, and so it makes you feel like, okay, I'm doing the right thing.
And you guys are making this so easy for me, because you're leading me right into my next question, which is, you know, one of the things I know that you've inspired thousands of people all over the world. But where do you draw your own inspiration from?
Wow. From God, from my own life experiences, a lot of times from people that I've met.
And of course from your mom.
And like, you know, my fiance now, years ago, when we worked together, you know, I write these songs and I was sad. So now I've seen me to write more happy songs, like Paint Me a Rainbow and Walking on the Stars. I'm kind of going in a little bit more of a upbeat direction. I am going to have a beautiful, really deep songs on this next album I'm working on. So I draw it from everywhere. It could be, I could hear something or see something, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, you know.
And speaking of inspiring the masses, how are you dealing with your popularity? What keeps you grounded?
God and TC and actually, you know, just everything keeps you grounded, you know, just you know, you draw boundaries, and you know, and also I watch a lot of Joseph Prince, the Christian ministry, and it's helped me a lot, because I always thought I had to go, and do, and push. And then he says, no, God, when God's favor's on you, and you're trusting in God, you do your part, but you don't have to kill yourself. And that really has helped me, because it's like, okay, God, you open these doors. Like you the door open without me having to do anything. And the Artist of Music Awards, and then this Betty Drapes Award. I didn't even know who Betty Drapes was. I'm getting this Betty Award. I'm like, wow.
And for the favorite song, no less. And so that's a really huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I didn't know. You know, it was like,
of all the songs out there.
Yeah,
you know.
she's such a beautiful person, and so it's like I'm relying on God's favor and trying to remain in His rest, because I think we try to strive and we try to push, and I'm like, God, you've given me this gift, you're touching lives, you open the right doors, and then I do my part, and it's helped me a lot in the last year especially.
Awesome.
Because remember how I was driving myself crazy.
And another thing that I will add is that I think Amy and we have this within our soul, and Julie, my other daughter, and my husband, my blessed husband, and I mean that, I love him dearly, is I don't like to leave anybody out. I just don't like to leave anybody out, because I know what it's like, and Amy knows what it's like, and that's most important, I think, especially the way things are going now.
Yeah, that fueled me a lot too, because I have a heart for handicapped children, and people that were rejected. So a lot of, like she said, it's
I do
fueled a lot of
too.
my music too.
Okay, and many artists are sharing a whole lot of themselves outside of the music arena, outside of their actual music via, by way of social media and stuff like that. And I know we met on Facebook. How comfortable are you with being open and vulnerable to your audience outside of your music?
I'm very, very comfortable to the point where my fiance is like, you tell too much information. He's worried sick because remember, he's a police officer, so he's just like total opposite than me. I mean, I've gotten a lot better over the years, but I was extremely naive, very trustworthy because we grew up in a small town. So I went from growing up in a small town. So I'm very comfortable, although I do set my boundaries. Sometimes you have to. And I don't like to put anything negative up. I always tweet good things. And if there are things going, I mean, I'll say that I'm sad, or if somebody in the family's sick, or somebody needs prayer, I'll put that up, but I'm not gonna, put up any, I don't want to put too much negative up there. I think that, because I don't want to start a
Then
fire.
again, you're not a negative person,
Yeah,
so
so I
there's
don't
not,
wanna do
there's
that.
not a lot of negative that you really can share because you always kind of like put a positive spin. And I always smile when I see your posts because they're all these little hearts and angels. And, I love that. And so you're like one of the most amazing people that I know on Facebook because you're and for me, sometimes I can be sick in my bed because, but nobody will know because by my post nobody will ever know. But people like to share, some stuff that just should not share. Seriously, So I just love the way that you share yourself authentically and very transparent without overstepping and without going too far.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
I'm glad you said that because TC worries all the time. I'm like, honey, I just put up, and I like to create these pictures to describe, and I don't know where that came from. It
That
just
is
started.
very, very creative. I love that. Because pictures tell 1,000 words.
Yeah.
And once you see a photo, and people are, a lot of people, they just connect when they see the photo, and then they want to read what goes with the photo.
Yeah.
But already you've told the story in the photo. You don't have too much.
Yeah, it's fun. I really like it. It's like kind of like I sit down and I do these, and it's like almost like a relaxation for me. I enjoy it. And TC knows I love it. And I'm like, look at what I just made. I made this for our Big Red Couch interview, and and I love it.
I woke up this morning and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome in this world. And one of the other things I know that creating stuff like that is a passion for you. Another passion that you shared with me is thrifting. You love to thrift.
Yes,
So just tell me a little bit about that because I know you also shared a little something that you would love your thrifting to turn into.
Well, I actually have a dream to do a reality show where I would go to thrift stores all over the United States. And I thought about it the other day. A lot of thrift stores help in the community in so many different areas. So I would go in and interview the thrift stores and then shop there. It's become a passion, and a lot of friends of mine that would never step in a thrift store are now fanatics about it lately because I got them started. As a matter of fact, what I'm wearing, everything, even the boots. This is a Boise that I got at the Goodwill. I'm passionate about it, and I was approached right before Christmas to do a show called Wine, Dine, and Consign with Denise Rigotti. She is a foodie in Boca, and she does wine and dine. She's loves different wines, and she met me through Kimberly West, and they all love the way I dress. I go in there like
Facebook posse, right?
yeah, I go to perform at an event, and everybody be like, I love your outfit. Where did you get it? I said, I got it at the thrift store. So I have all these people asking me, So she approached me. I want to do dine, wine, consign. And from there, I was like, we're in the process of doing that right now. And then I thought, I want to do a show. And so I was out thrifting, and I met this fashion designer, gentleman named Latron. Very flamboyant, just very amazing as a designer. And we met in the thrift store, and I said, Latron, I need to have a guy like him in the show. Somebody very out there, flamboyant. So I approached him, and we're going to have a meeting this month about it.
It's the Brad world. Is he that flamboyant?
He's a designer. I graduated from the Art Institute in '96. He just graduated in fashion, and he does his own line, but he's also a thrift fanatic too, and we met. And when I decided, okay, I want to do this, and he wanted to do it. So, and I have a concept, and he knows so many students at the Art Institute who could film it. So I'm hoping that someday it'll be, I could have it on like the Style Network or, you know, something different, you know,
Right.
like, because there's a lot of people out there in the economy,
Exactly.
they don't feel
That's
like they
what I
can
was
look good.
thinking. The economy is so hard for people, and what Amy finds, it is amazing.
Unbelievable, right?
I mean, yes, I'm a person after her own heart, and do this, and it will help people, you know, to find nice things for themselves and not have to really
Spend all that money.
overspend.
I think that's why I like it so much. Like I'm looking for a suitcase for all my travels, and I was like, I can't spend $100 to $200 on a suitcase. So we're at the Goodwill, and here's this nice big suitcase, and it was $25. So I took it up to the register, and the manager's like, do you know how much that suitcase sells at Bird Eye or Macy's? He said, I just saw it on sale there for $159. So I went up to the actual, it's a like a couture suitcase company, and this suitcase is brand new. It's a $300 suitcase.
Oh, wow.
That was on sale for $159, and I got it for $25, and it's new because
Awesome.
so that's the thrill that I like, because I'm like, wow, I can get this and not spend, and I like that, and I like also the thrill of going in, what am I gonna find, because you go out in the department stores and everything's the same, and
exactly.
and it's like, what am I gonna find?
Exactly.
And then also helping people, and every thrift store you go in, Women in Distress helps abused women. Out of the Closet helps people with AIDS. The Goodwill and Salvation Army helps the Christian community. There's so many, and the Goodwill we went in the other day is helping educate people that don't have jobs. They're building a center, so it's like you're giving
You're giving back.
something.
You're giving
Yeah.
back to, that's really awesome. And what's your the song that's most personal to you, that you know kind of like speaks to something that you've experienced in your life?
Oh, Make Me a Butterfly, for
Make Me a
sure.
Butterfly.
Yeah, that's everybody's favorite. And I think, I mean, of course I wrote it out of, you know, coming out of anorexia and coming out of hurts and stuff, but you can, people have written me, people call it their song. This is my song. This song was written just for me, you know. Strangers will write me, you know. And yeah, and it's the one I sing the most. I'm asked to sing the most, so.
And it was shortly after she wrote it, my mother passed away from Alzheimer's, and Amy came to the funeral and she sang that honoring mother at the funeral.
Beautiful.
So that meant a great deal.
Oh yeah, and I want to tell you something amazing happened. Right after Grandma's funeral, I sang, and we came home, because she died in December, 3 or 4 years ago. And that January 1st, there was a little butterfly in Florida, of course, not in Maryland, with no wings on the ground. And I took care of her. We called her Grace.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
everybody was like, that's like your grandma coming back. And we brought her in the house, and we called her Butterfly, place that takes care of butterflies. And the guy said, well, butterflies don't, you should just let the little butterfly, put them in the refrigerator in an envelope and let them die. I said, I can't do that. I want him to die when God wants him to die. Or her, I called it her, Grace.
Grace.
And I decided, this is before the Facebook days, I decided to put her life and took pictures. People went nuts. She became like this phenomenon on MySpace.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It was like all these sick people, like Grace, they would come on my post to see, and I would say, oh, Grace walked around the house and she tried to fly and she jumped off and she lived a whole month. It was just a miracle. And like when I would talk or sing, she'd flap a little wing, and we have video footage of her. So a lot of people think that was Grandma coming, and it was all in the same. Grandma died, and this was like 3 weeks after Grandma died. And I still have pictures of Grace up on Facebook.
Awesome. And Judy, tell me, what's your favorite song by Amy and why?
I love, there's several that, well, I love all of them.
Of course, Mom.
I know that, one that I deeply love is I Had a Dream.
I love that.
I love that too. Oh, I mean, I feel at peace. The words, everything. I mean, it just, and a lot of people say that. And Now, I do know one that is a fast moving song, but I love this. Her producer, I love, Ben Bagley. But it's called Electric Church. And that's a fast song, but it is excellent. It is full of love and energy and wonderfulness. And then, Amy, what is the other one? There's another one about dying.
Oh, one day.
Oh my word. One day. This I can't tell you, because this is what we all worry about, and this is what we all will face, but somehow it just puts a peace around us to listen. That when I first heard it, I called her producer. I said, Ben, oh Ben. I did. I go, Ben, that was a wonderful, Ben. And I mean, truly, you've heard that one.
I actually haven't heard that one, but I'm going to listen to it as soon as we're finished. We're going to pull it up and we're going to listen to it.
Okay.
It's on the album. I actually wrote it for somebody who's lost a loved one, and I had to sing for Suicide Prevention of Hollywood. For family members that lost someone to suicide. At the time, I'm like, how am I going to sing for people that lost someone to suicide when I've never experienced that? God, thank God, the grace, His grace, and I sang, but I didn't have the song written. But it was from that experience that the song was inspired, and so many people have used it at their funerals, because it's a song that you're going to see the person again one day. So.
And just a couple more questions for you. Someone coming into the music industry, an aspiring artist, performer, what one really quick, important piece of advice would you give to them?
Wow, to train. To train, try to write their own material, because it's hard, when you're out there, the publishing and then using other people's songs. But definitely to try to be who they are. Try not to be what you think is trending, but be authentic to who you are. And I went to a Winter Music Conference, and there was a panelist, this was back years ago, and when Norah Jones came out, before she won the Grammy and before she got, all the accolades, so many labels didn't want to sign her because they wanted her to be like the next Britney Spears. She refused. And the panelist judge that was speaking at the Winter Music Conference said, all you artists out there, be authentic to who you are, because people are going to see that you're being fake. So I think that, and also train and be ready, because, I've had a lot of voice teachers, a lot of training. I'm not even there yet, but along the way, I had people, a record guy came from Nashville, and he said, you're not ready. Your songs are amazing. This was years and years ago. I hear it, because he heard my song, God's Special Angel, but you're vocally, there's something not ready. And so I listened to him, and I got more teachers, and then I'm like, he was right. At the time, you didn't want to hear that. But training. Because it's like I'm nervous every time I have to perform. So if you're not trained and you're not prepared, you're not going to be ready. You have to, because all entertainers are nervous. Rihanna's nervous, Barbara Streisand, I saw her on Oprah, she froze up. Adele said she gets sick. She was on right before the Grammys saying how she gets froze up. So if you're not prepared, can you just imagine? So training, and being authentic to who you are.
Awesome. And what stamp do you want to leave on this planet when you exit?
The love of God, love of Jesus. Yeah, the grace, and that people are loved no matter what, because a lot of people think, they have to be perfect, or, just that they're loved.
Awesome.
But His love is unconditional, So.
And if there were a theme song for your life, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Oh, my word. What do you think, Mom? That's all right.
That's a difficult one, because Amy is so full of love and sincereness, but she also is fun-loving and all of that. So, Amy, I guess just the love of God and Jesus and the joy and the peace within.
And you know, a lot of people never achieve
Any of that.
any of that, and least of all peace.
Yeah,
So,
that's the most important.
yeah, that's the most important, and I'm happy that you've achieved that, and your mom seems to have achieved that.
Well, I'm still,
It's still a work in progress.
I'm still a work in progress, but I'm trying to keep marching on because I've had a lot of sickness. But this is not about me.
Well, she's had sarcoidosis and autoimmune, so, you know, she's been through a lot. She put on high doses of prednisone and she almost died, but how many years ago? Maybe 8 years ago. Her intestines erupted, and then all this, you know, because when you're on these high doses of medications, they cause other problems.
Of course.
So it helps one thing, and it almost killed her because it affected her, and her intestines exploded.
Well, you're still here for a reason.
So you don't know what you're gonna have to face. And you know, sometimes I'll tell you that I feel uncomfortable even going out, don't I, Amy? I feel like hiding.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't hide today. I'm glad that you came and you were able to sit on my big red couch. You were surprised, but I totally enjoyed having you, and I enjoyed having you. I am so honored that you were able to come and be with me here on my big red couch.
We're honored to be here. We have been honored to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. And I will see you next time on my big red couch. Until then, be inspired, be incredible, be red. Well, we have a special treat. Amy is going to sing a few verses from Paint Me a Rainbow, which is one of my favorite songs by Amy. Take it away.
I'm going to do a couple verses a cappella. So I'm getting ready. Now this is a fast song. I'm going to kind of take it in my own little direction.
That's
See how
fine.
it goes. Okay. Red as a rose, orange like the autumn grows, yellow as the sun, and green like a field of dreams. Paint me a rainbow in the sky, where all the colors gleam so bright. Paint me a rainbow so I can dream of happy days. Paint me a rainbow in the sky, where my heart will forever fly. Paint me a rainbow and bring me home again. After the storm, light up the gloomy skies, blue as the sea, violet like the lilac trees. Paint me a rainbow in the sky, where all the colors gleam so bright. Paint me a rainbow so I can dream of happy days. Paint me a rainbow in the sky, where my heart